In the dark of space, far from Earth, a ship moved slowly between stars. It was not a warship, it carried no weapons. Inside there were doctors, nurses, and medical supplies. The name of the ship was Hope One. Its mission was simple: to help. It was sent to a small colony planet suffering from a deadly sickness. The people there had no cure. Earth answered with kindness. They sent Hope One. The ship glowed white in the dark sky, its signal lights blinking softly. For days, everything was peaceful. The crew smiled, worked hard, and prepared for landing. Dr. Laina, the lead physician, walked the hallways, checking on her team. Captain Rourke, once a Navy officer, now commanded this peaceful vessel with care. They believed they were safe. No one ever attacked a hospital ship, but peace can be broken without warning. Late in the night cycle, as most of the crew slept, something strange appeared on the sensors. A shape, a shadow, not a planet, not a star. It moved with purpose, but too fast, and without sending any signal. The bridge crew grew quiet. Captain Rourke was called. He arrived quickly, eyes sharp. The object got closer. Still no answer. Tried to send a message. This is Hope One. We are a medical vessel. We carry no weapons. Please respond. Nothing. Suddenly, the lights on the ship blinked. Then again, something was wrong. Systems slowed down. Screens flashed red. The engines stopped. The ship began to drift. Panic spread through the crew. Then it came. A flash of light struck the side of Hope One. The hull cracked. People screamed. The medical base shook. The unarmed ship had no way to fight back. The attackers didn't speak. They didn't ask for surrender. They didn't send a warning. All communication with Earth stopped. Back home, deep inside Earth's command, silence from Hope One was noticed. At first they thought it was a signal issue, a delay, but hours passed. Then a broken message arrived. Just static. And then a voice. This is Hope One. We are on Eta. And then, silence. Command froze. A hospital ship attacked. Impossible. They replayed the message again and again. Some parts were too broken to hear, but one word was clear. Attacked. A deep anger began to grow. Across Earth, news spread fast. People watched in fear and disbelief. Who would do this? Was this a warning, or something worse? A council of leaders was called. Military science, diplomats all gathered. No one knew who the enemy was. The ship had gone silent near a quiet star system. There had been no known alien threats in that area. A team was sent to scan the area, satellites, drones, even listening devices. They searched for any sign. 1 week later, a signal was picked up, weak, faint, but real. It came from the same area Hope One had vanished. The message was short. It was not in any Earth language. Strange symbols, moving in rhythm, repeating. Scientists worked day and night. They could not crack it, but they found one strange thing. The pattern was not random. It was like a code, or a warning. Then, a discovery. A long-range satellite showed a blurry image, metal floating in space. Torn, burned, but one part was clear. The words, Hope-1. The image shocked the world. People demanded justice. But Earth had no one to aim at. No name, no face. Just a ship that disappeared. And a strange enemy that didn't speak. Captain Rourke's name was whispered in every home. Dr. Laina's picture was shown in news reports. These people were heroes. They helped others. And now, they were gone. But Earth does not forget its people. The president made a promise. We will find them. We will bring them home. Whoever did this will answer for it. A team of engineers began working on deep space, signal tracing. A new fleet was discussed. Not for war. Not yet, but for answers. Then, just before the end of the week, something happened. A listening station in deep space heard something strange. A signal, weak but human. A voice, slow, faint. This is Dr. Laina. If you can hear me, they are not human. Please. And then, nothing. The room went quiet. Earth Command looked at one another. She was alive at least. She had been. And if one survived, others might have too. No one knew where the signal came from, but they had one new goal. They would not send another hospital ship. This time, they would send something else. The stars had changed, and Earth was ready to answer. Far beyond the orbit of Mars, a single ship glided quietly through space. Its name was Pathfinder 7, and its mission was clear: find out what happened to the missing hospital ship Hope One. The people of Earth were watching, the leaders were waiting. And those aboard knew that their job was not just exploration, it was about answers. Commander Elise Vora stood on the observation deck, watching the stars. Her face was calm, but her eyes were focused. She had read the reports how Hope One vanished, how only a broken message had returned, and how a single voice, faint and cracked, called out for help. This is Dr. Laina. They are not human. Please. That was the last anyone had heard. Pathfinder 7 had now entered the same sector where the hospital ship was last seen. The crew was on edge. The air felt thick with tension. Every beep from the sensors, every flicker on the radar, made hearts beat faster. Then, without warning, something appeared on the screen. A small object, cold, silent, floating in the darkness. The crew stared. It wasn't large. It wasn't moving. But its surface had strange markings, lines that curved and shimmered, as if they were shifting even though the object was still. They brought it aboard. Inside the lab, scientists scanned it. The material was unfamiliar. Not metal, not stone, something in between. No energy readings. But then, something strange. The object began to glow. A thin blue light moved across its surface, like a ripple on water. And then the lights on path flickered, systems blinked. The engine slowed for a moment before coming back online. The object had done something, but no one knew what. And then, a message appeared on the lab monitor. Not in English. Not in any known human language, but slowly, a pattern formed, a symbol, then a second. The AI translation system tried to decode it. The result was just 2 words. You followed. The message stopped. Nothing more. Commander Elise tightened her jaw. She sent a report back to Earth, but kept the full message from the public. There was no need to create panic. Not yet. As the crew continued scanning, another signal appeared, this time from far ahead. A cluster of energy, small but focused, like a faint engine trail. Someone, or something, had moved through this space. Recently, they followed it. For hours, the trail led deeper into the unknown. And then, in the distance, they saw something. No one expected a piece of Hope One's hull, floating, broken, but unmistakable. It had drifted far from where the original attack happened. And nearby, more pieces, medical tools, data pads, and one damaged lifeboat. Inside the lifeboat, they found signs of life. Blood traces, a torn uniform, but no bodies, not a single one. It was as if the crew had been taken, not harmed, but moved. For what reason, no one knew. One crew member, Ensign Rowe, checked a data pad recovered from the wreckage. He found a recording, a shaky video clip. It showed a hallway inside Hope One, alarms blaring, people running, and in the background, a shape. It was tall, thin, silvery, not human, moving with speed and silence. Then the screen went dark. The recording ended. Now the crew of Pathfinder 7 knew for sure. The attack was real. The enemy was unknown. And Hope One had been boarded, not destroyed. A new question filled the minds of the crew. Why take doctors? Commander Elise called a meeting. She stood before her officers, her voice steady. We are not here to fight, she said. But we are not leaving. Without the truth, our people are out there, and we are going to find them. That night, as the ship drifted near the wreckage, a shadow passed in the distance. A silent ship, moving fast, almost invisible. Not a rock, not a trick of light. Something was watching them. The ship turned, engines flaring with a strange blue glow, and disappeared into the stars. Pathfinder 7 tried to follow, but the ship was too fast. It vanished beyond sensor range. But it had left something behind. Another signal, another code, and a clear sign that the game had changed. Earth now had evidence. The peaceful mission had become something greater. This was no random accident. Someone was testing humanity. Someone was taking without reason. And Earth had just begun to respond. The silence of deep space was broken by a whisper, a human voice, weak and full of pain. This is Dr. Laina. If anyone hears me, they're watching, but they don't speak. The voice was real. Back on Earth, the signal had been recorded by a hidden listening satellite, almost missed among a storm of static. Technicians played the message again and again. Experts confirmed it. The voice matched the records of Dr. Laina Farrell, the chief medical officer of Hope One, the hospital ship thought to be lost forever. She was alive. Earth Command moved quickly. The message had no exact coordinates, but it gave them hope and a direction. Pathfinder 7, already deep into the unknown region, received new orders. They were no longer searching for wreckage. They were now on a rescue mission. Inside the ship, the atmosphere changed. Everyone felt it. Engineers worked longer hours. Pilots trained harder. Scientists combed through data without rest. Commander Elise Vora knew that time was running out. Whoever had Dr. Laina might not keep her alive for long. The crew focused on one detail. The signal's energy signature didn't match anything human, but it was similar to the strange object they had found earlier. That same glow, that same blue ripple. It wasn't just a message, it was a trail. They followed it. After 3 days, Pathfinder 7 reached a strange zone in Space N area where light bent oddly and signals bounced in strange patterns. It was like flying through a curtain of mirrors. Their systems flickered. The crew grew tense, and then, without warning, they found it, a structure, floating in silence. Huge, and yet hidden among space, dust, and gravity shadows. Not a station, not a ship, something in between. It pulsed gently, as if breathing. Made of black glass and sharp silver curves, it had no visible entrance. No lights, no signs of movement. But the sensors picked up life inside. Human life. Commander Elise held her breath. She opened a secure channel. This is Commander Elise Vora of Pathfinder 7. We are here in peace. We believe you are holding members of our medical team. We request communication. No reply. Again. They sent the message 3 times. Still silence. Then, slowly, a section of the strange structure shifted. A small opening appeared, just large enough for a shuttle to enter. It was a choice. Risk the lives of a small team, or turn back. Commander Elise didn't hesitate. She chose to go in. The shuttle team, dressed in reinforced exploration suits, entered the structure. Inside, everything was dark, smooth walls. No panels, no screens. Just quiet hums and soft pulses of light. The path led them deeper, into a central chamber. There, in the middle of the room, they found pods, human pods. Each pod held one person, sleeping, alive. Their faces were calm, like they were dreaming. The scanner confirmed it doctors from Hope 20 of them. And in the first pod, Dr. Leyna. As the team approached her pod, something changed. Lights on the walls brightened. A holographic shape appeared. It wasn't a being, it was data, symbols, flowing like liquid. Then a voice spoke. Not through speakers, not through air, but inside their minds. You seek what you do not understand. The team froze. We took them not for harm, but for study. Your kind heals. You protect the weak. That is, rare. The voice was calm, cold, and not fully translated. Commander Elise tried to speak back. Return them now. There was a pause. Then the voice answered, they will be returned. But you must see what we saw. In an instant, the room changed. The team was shown images not with eyes, but through thought. Pictures of dying alien planets. Civilizations with no doctors, no hospitals. Species who knew only survival. Never care. The message was clear. These beings had never seen mercy before. Earth's kindness was alien to them, but now, they had learned. By watching humans. Still, the question remained, why take people? The voice answered, we feared asking, we feared you would not share. So we took, we watched, we learned. Then, silence. The pods began to open. One by one, the humans inside stirred. Dr. Leyna opened her eyes, blinking under the chamber lights. She looked confused, but unharmed. The shuttle team guided her out, along with the others. No guards stopped them, no threats. The strange structure stayed quiet as they left. As they returned to Pathfinder 7, Dr. Leyna told her story. She remembered being taken. She remembered a soft light, questions in her mind, dreams that weren't her own, but she felt no pain, only observation, like an animal in a glass room. She said they never spoke aloud, they only watched and listened. Now with the crew safe and recovering, Earth faced a new truth. There was life out there, not cruel, not kind, just curious. They didn't hate humans, they didn't want war, but they had no idea how to ask for help. And Earth, once known only on one blue planet, had now become something more. It had become a teacher. But deep in the minds of Earth's leaders, one thought remained. If they could find hope and if these beings had watched humans long enough to understand healing, then who else had been watching, and what were they learning? Asterisk. The message came without sound, without light, just a shift in gravity, a tremble in the deep. Earth's outer satellite ring, orbiting far past Pluto, picked up something no one could explain. Not a signal, not a ship, but an absence. A space where nothing responded. It was as if something massive had entered the solar system, yet not a single radar alarm had been triggered. At Earth Command, technicians leaned in close. The chart showed a strange reading near Neptune's orbit. No movement, no engine trail. But the pull of space had changed. Something was there. And it wasn't a natural object. Pathfinder-7, having returned with the survivors of Hope 1, was now Earth's most trusted deep space. Vessel Commander Elise Vora received the message while Dr. Leyna was still recovering in the medbay. The readings were clear. An unknown object was now within Earth's system, silence, stationary, and hidden in plain sight. This time, they wouldn't wait. Elise set a new course. Their destination, Neptune's shadow zone, a quiet part of space, where signals often bounced and died. No planets, no colonies. Just cold silence. Or so they believed. As Pathfinder 7 approached, the crew stared out the main view panels. At first they saw nothing. Stars, dust, darkness. Then, it appeared, not by movement, but by absence. A shape that didn't reflect light, it didn't glow or pulse. It simply existed. A massive object, larger than any human-made ship, floating, with no energy signal at all. It was shaped like a wide crescent, smooth and silent, as if carved from darkness itself. Sensors couldn't read it. Scanners gave no data. It was there, and yet not there. Elise ordered a probe to be launched. The tiny device flew forward, carrying lights, scanners, and audio monitors. As soon as it reached 500 meters from the structure, it vanished. No explosion. No sound out, it just blinked out. The crew went still. A second probe was launched. This one stayed further back, observing from a distance. It sent data for 2.4 seconds before shutting off permanently. Still no response from the object, and then, without warning, something changed. The crescent-shaped object rotated slowly, only a few degrees, but it was enough to expose a single glowing point at its center. Not a weapon, not a window. Just a soft, swirling blue light, like a whirlpool in space. From that light, a pulse was sent. The pulse didn't damage the ship. It didn't interfere with systems, but every screen on Pathfinder 7 turned completely white, and a word appeared on every terminal, in every known human language. Continue. Just one word. No voice, no symbol. Just the message. Dr. Leyna, still weak, stepped onto the bridge. Her face went pale when she saw the word. She had seen it before. Inside the alien structure, in the thoughts they had placed in her mind. This isn't just another watcher, she said softly. This is something else. Something older. The science officer pulled up hidden sensor logs. During the pulse, a tiny stream of quantum particles had entered the ship. Not dangerous, but extremely rare. Particles that didn't come from local space. It was proof this object hadn't come from a nearby system. It had come from outside the galaxy, and now, it was inside their solar system. Elise looked out at the structure again. No movement, no sound. Just presence. She knew what it meant. They were being watched again, but this time not by curious beings seeking to learn. This was something greater, more patient. It hadn't come to ask questions. It had come to observe the observers. Earth was no longer alone. The alien who took the doctors was only a student. This was the teacher. The crew debated what to do next. No one knew how to communicate. No one wanted to provoke it, so Earth sent a simple message. We acknowledge your presence. We offer peace. They waited, no answer came. But the structure did something new. Its outer edge shimmered on. A small object drifted out from its center. It was smooth, about the size of a large crate, and it moved slowly, directly toward Pathfinder-7. The shuttle team retrieved it with care. Inside the object was a sphere, perfect, transparent, and suspended in midair. When they touched it, images filled the room. Visions of other worlds, other species, some strange, some familiar. One looked almost human. Each image showed something, a disaster, a sickness, a moment of help, a hand offered, a life saved. Then, the last image. Earth. It showed hope one, and it showed the attack. But the attacker in the image was not the one they had seen before. It was another. A shadow with many arms. A shape that seemed to flicker, even in the still image. Something different, something darker. Elise stepped back. The message was now clear. The Watchers did not attack Hope-1. They only collected the people after someone else had already taken them. Who, then, had struck first? And why? The question was more important than ever, because the structure near Neptune had now turned again. Its glow faded, and it disappeared. Not by moving, by folding like a page closing in a book. 1 second it was there. The next, only stars remained. Earth had been shown something, a truth, but not the full truth, and far beyond the solar system. In a place no telescope could see, the real enemy had already begun to move again. Asterisk. It began with a light in the sky, not a comet, not a flare, just a slow, growing glow above Mars' orbit. Astronomers on Earth noticed at first something brightening in space that wasn't supposed to be there. At first they thought it was a distant star flaring up, but over the next 6 hours, that light grew bigger and closer. By the time Pathfinder-7 detected it, the glow had shifted. It wasn't one object, it was many. Hundreds, maybe more. They weren't sending signals. They weren't responding to any contact attempts. They were just arriving. Earth Command scrambled to respond. Screens lit up. Emergency protocols were activated across the solar system. Observatories tracked the incoming fleet shapes large and small, moving in perfect formation. No known patterns, no visible weapons. But something about them felt deliberate, coordinated. They weren't lost. They weren't drifting. They were here with a purpose. Commander Elise Vora watched the feed from her command seat. The strange fleet had now reached the edge of Mars' orbit. It hadn't passed. It hadn't slowed down. It simply held its position, like it was waiting for something. A communication signal was sent, in every major galactic language Earth had discovered, including the one used by the beings who had taken the doctors from Hope-1. No reply. Just silence. Until something unexpected happened. One of the ships in the strange formation detached from the rest and moved toward Earth's outer defense ring. But instead of approaching a military post, it stopped and released a small, glowing pod. The pod drifted toward the moon, then slowed until it matched orbit. Earth Command, after hours of discussion, authorized a shuttle to retrieve it. Inside, the pod was a message. Not digital, not a video, but a small cube engraved with strange lines that glowed softly under touch. When placed on the table, the cube activated, showing a 3D projection. It displayed humans, doctors, nurses, medical staff from Hope-1, alive. They were standing in a quiet chamber, unmoving, inside transparent chambers that kept them safe, asleep. The image shifted to show strange caretakers, tall and slender, moving carefully among the sleeping humans. Not the same ones who had taken them. These were different. Calm, almost respectful. Then the projection displayed a message. In Earth's language, we found them. We protect them. But we are not the ones who caused their fall. The projection ended. Silence again. This changed everything. Fleet parked near Mars wasn't the enemy. They were returning the lost. Not because of kindness, but because they had a reason. Something else had happened. Something that forced them to take action. Elise and her team analyzed the pod, looking for energy traces, signs of origin, or even communication logs. What they found was a code embedded deep in the cube's core coordinates. Not nearby. Not within Earth's space. Not even in the same galactic arm. It was a place beyond the charts. A system believed to be empty. lifeless. But now, it had meaning. Earth's top minds met that same night. If this unknown fleet wasn't the true enemy, who was, and why return the missing humans now? Dr. Laina, still recovering, stepped forward with a quiet answer. They were afraid, she said. Whoever brought me back. They weren't rescuing us, they were removing us. Clearing evidence. That one sentence changed the room. The pieces began to connect. Someone else had attacked Hope One first. Then, these silent watchers came after, not to save but to study. And now, they returned to the humans. Not out of regret, but out of fear. Fear of something bigger. Something approaching. Earth had to choose. Ignore the warning and wait for whatever was coming, or send a fleet to the coordinates and find out the truth before it was too late. The decision didn't take long. For the first time in history, Earth united its defense ships with peaceful research cruisers. Scientists, strategists, diplomats, and explorers boarded the new expedition, vessel named Aurora's Light, to seek the truth at the edge of known space. Before launch, Dr. Laina handed Commander Elise a copy of one last file taken secretly from the pod's internal memory. It showed a symbol burned into metal on a wall behind the sleeping doctors. A swirling mark, sharp at the edges, not the mark of the Watchers, something else. Elise recognized it. It matched the blurred image they had seen in the alien sphere near Neptune, the one showing a flickering shape that didn't belong. Now there was proof a third force had entered the game, not explorers, not rescuers. Something else. And they had left a trail. Aurora's Light launched into the stars. Ahead, the unknown. Behind the knowledge that someone, or something, had already tested Earth's kindness, and Earth, quietly but clearly, was preparing its response, not with anger, but with purpose. The kind of purpose that made even distant stars pay attention. Asterisk, the silence at the edge of the galaxy was heavier than anything Commander Elise Vora had ever known. Aurora's Light had traveled far beyond mapped sectors, beyond any human colony, beyond where even the early probes had dared to go. The ship moved slowly now, as if space itself had grown thicker. The stars outside didn't twinkle, they watched. The crew was quiet too. Everyone knew this journey was different. This was no rescue, no return. They were heading to something that had stayed hidden for a reason. The coordinates buried deep inside the glowing pod left by the Watchers had led them here to a forgotten system with no official name. But in ancient alien records, the system had one word beside it: threshold. A place beyond borders. A place others didn't go. The ship reached orbit around a cold, dead planet. No life, no light, just dust and stone. But deep under its frozen surface, the sensors found something strange, a low pulse. Not a signal. More like a heartbeat. Drones to investigate. The readings were clear. There was a structure below, a massive one, covered by ice and silence, as if it had been waiting. The mission team landed on the planet with caution. Dr. Laina joined them. Despite her previous trauma, she said something about the place felt familiar, though she'd never seen it before, like a memory from a dream. Inside the cavern, the air was thin, and the ground echoed with every step. The walls weren't stone. They were shaped, designed, covered in symbols not yet decoded. The team followed the pulse deeper, through corridors so ancient they seemed untouched for ages. At the center, they found the source. It was not a weapon, not a base. It was something far older, a kind of archive, a hall of knowledge. Floating in the center of the room were images, moving shapes made of light and sound. They showed other worlds, other times, not in words, but in feelings. The humans saw flashes of alien species, long gone, great empires lost, civilizations that had vanished without a trace. And then, one image lingered, that it was Earth, but not today's Earth, not from space. It was old, showing moments from Earth's early years, forests, oceans, mountains, untouched by cities. The vision changed. Now it showed Earth's people walking, building, healing, and in the distance, always watching, was a shadow, not a shape, not a person, just a presence. It had watched Earth from the beginning, not to harm, not to help, but to see, to learn. The vision faded, and in its place, a voice filled the room, not with sound, but with thought. You have reached the boundary. The team froze. You are not the first to be seen, but you are the first to arrive. The message continued in pieces. The Watchers had not been alone. They were one part of something greater, a vast network of minds that traveled not through ships, but through thought. They had watched many worlds, always from afar, but something had changed. A signal had awakened them, not sent by humans, but triggered by Earth's actions. When Hope One was attacked, it created a ripple, a pattern that drew attention not just from nearby civilizations, but from minds sleeping across time. And something else had noticed too. The real attacker, not one of the Watchers, not a curious race, but a hidden force that fed on patterns, on life, on understanding. Its name was not given, but its actions were known. Across the galaxy, civilizations had disappeared after similar ripples. Peaceful acts, followed by silence. Kindness, followed by disappearance. Now, Earth had been added to that list. But this time, Earth had done something different. It had responded not with destruction, not with fear, but with purpose. And so, The old minds had made a choice. They would speak. The team stood in silence as the message continued. The one you seek cannot be fought. It does not speak, it does not sleep. It follows understanding. It mirrors the light you send. They didn't fully understand, but they knew what was coming. Before they left, one final gift was given, a crystalline orb, floating gently into Dr. Lena's hands. Inside it was knowledge, written not in data, but in form, a memory of what had come before. The warning of what would come again. Back aboard Aurora's light, the crew watched the orb pulse with a quiet rhythm, not a countdown, not a threat. Reminder. Earth had reached the stars, not through power, but through intention, through aid, through care, and that is what had awakened the sleeping silence. The journey back was quiet. Everyone had changed, no longer explorers, not yet warriors. Something new, what Nay returned. Earth welcomed them as heroes, but Elise knew the truth. The story wasn't over, it was only the beginning, because somewhere, in the quiet between galaxies, a force was listening still, and the next move would be theirs.